sisters, we've all turned up the radio to hear Brother Jimmy Lakey, from coast to coast and shore to shore. Now raise your voice. Oh, let us all Jimmy Lakey, get out of bed. Jimmy Lakey, raise your voice. Jimmy Lakey, Lakey, hey, can't live without it with Jimmy Lakey. Jimmy Lakey.
Well, there I am. How are you, my friends? It's the 4th of July Eve, Independence Day Eve. Good to have you here on the program. Jimmy is my name, and happy birthday, America, in advance. 249 years. You know what's special about this 4th of July is it's also beginning the countdown and the march forward to our 250th birthday, which will be next year. And aren't you glad that Donald J. Trump and patriots like him are in the White House and getting to plan our 4th of July celebration for our 250th birthday. So anyway, happy Eve for the Independence Day. Some folks are having a party today. I know that producer Chad is having a cul-de-sac party in his neighborhood, and I have been invited to stop by because producer Chad has decided that on his shopping list today is apple pie. And he's also got some American cheese, and he has said if I show up at the cul-de-sac party, which sounds like a dare or maybe a threat, that I am going to have to try apple pie with American cheese on it to satisfy the earballs of so many people that are in this audience that like to put cheese on their apple pie. I'm not sure if I can do it, but I will pray with me, my friends, and we will see if I can get this done today if I show up at the cul-de-sac party. It'll be good to have all of you here. It is the 3rd day of July, year of our Lord 2023. Jimmy Lakey is my name. I have been unleashed from the bonds of corporate radio, and therefore I do my own little show here, and I'm glad to have, by the way, Arlo is complimenting me. Let's pause the show. We interrupt this program. You really should wear more blue more often. You look good in blue. Arlo, I hate to break the news to you that this is just a lighter color blue. Every shirt that I have pretty much is blue. I wear blue all the time, but I think with the camera, it comes across some as a dark black. But this is a lighter blue, and thank you. I do look good at it, don't I? I may look at myself here in the camera and say, yeah, I like me. All right. So anyway, thank you, Arlo. I appreciate the compliment. And I always wear blue. Everybody knows I have blue shirts. And that's a long story behind the blue shirts, but I think every shirt I own may be blue. I think I have. Yeah, almost every shirt is a shade of blue I have. Very monochromatic when it comes to wearing blue. Anyway, thank you, Arlo. I appreciate it. All right, good to have all of you here on the program. The big, beautiful bill is this close to the finish line. Right now, Hakeem Jeffries is not filibustering, but he's just holding the floor and making a speech, and all the Democrats are like clapping seals behind him and monkeys screwing a football back there. They're just having a great time, and Hakeem Jeffries is making an ass of himself. You know, you're a grown man, Hakeem, and you're in the minority as far as the party ranking, and this big, beautiful bill evidently is going to get across the finish line. It's not perfect, but there's going to be another swipe of the apple, I believe, and I hold them accountable to make sure. So Hakeem Jeffries is doing a childish delay. And let me ask you this. I guess maybe the base of his party, it helps him fundraise, and they raise some cash if he's going to hold the microphone, and they're going to be a bunch of trained seals behind him clapping. They're going to do that. But I just don't think it plays well in America. It comes across as obstruction. It comes across as just kind of stupid. Alexandria Cortez, she pontificated behind a microphone. And for some reason, you still don't know what the Democrats would do, what was their version of the big, beautiful bill. We know what they passed and what they accepted under the poopy pants Joe Biden administration. So we know that they hate Trump. We know that they hate the big, beautiful bill. But does anybody seriously have any idea what the Democrats really actually stand for? We know that they're going to use the phrase Medicaid. We're kicking people off Medicaid and grandma off the cliff. We know all the accusations that they're going to make. But does anybody actually think they have an idea? They have a lot of hatred, but do Democrats today have any ideas that are going to advance a ball down the pathway and make America what we would call great again? I think the answer is no. So the final House vote is coming. As soon as they can get Hakeem Jeffries to shut his pie hole, if you will, then the vote will come, and it looks like the big, beautiful bill will pass. There were some ways they had to get it passed. We'll talk about some of those things. One of those, I guess there was a special carve out to get Lisa Murkowski on board from Alaska. So, there's a little bit of horse trading that happens. You never want to see how the sausage is made, is the old adage, because sausage tastes good. But if you watched how it's made, it's not as pleasant. I had an advertiser at one point that was from farm to table, and it was cattle. And I had a lot of meat loaded up in my freezer because of this great advertiser. And it was great meat, some of the best quality stuff you'd ever have. Great advertiser on the radio show. But I went out one time. They said, you want to go see how the sausage is made or how the cows are? I said, yeah. And I went there and I saw everything from the cows coming off of the truck from their own farms, their own land, grass-fed, going into the chute. They take a little poop at the head and out they go. And the next thing I know, I'm watching carcasses of cows are hanging everywhere and the aging process. And it was troublesome. The shoes, I think, were a little bloody. I had to wear old shoes in there or put covers over them. But I'm telling you, it wasn't pleasant. And it didn't scare me enough to cause me to be a vegetarian. I still enjoy my steaks. Thank you very much. But it caused pause to think and say, well, maybe I don't want to have that hamburger tonight. So anyway, you don't want to see the sausage being made. You don't want to see how your steaks are butchered, but you do want to enjoy them. And it's ugly watching Washington, D.C., and Hakeem Jeffries makes it particularly ugly. He's a strange-looking fellow. But, some people think I'm a strange-looking fellow. Unless I wear blue, then it makes our Loa very, very happy. So the big, beautiful bill is going to get there. Looks like it will be on Donald Trump's desk to be signed. And that's the first bite of the apple. We'll talk more about the big, beautiful bill. The House vote is coming up here momentarily, and we will see how that happens. The BBB, as the screen says, has overcome GOP rebellion. The House Freedom Caucus was a no. They had to delay the vote for that. There's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of promises. And my understanding, according to news sources, is one of the things they have been doing is... talking about and trying to convince House members, hey, this is not our only reconciliation bill. We're going to do another reconciliation bill and another reconciliation bill. And so we know it's one big, beautiful bill, but we're going to do more of these big, beautiful bills, and we're going to keep getting things in line. So everybody hold on to your hats. We'll see how it all happens. But the big, beautiful bill is almost across the finish line. And it looks like the 4th of July celebration or the Independence Day celebration will be celebrated accordingly. All right, it's a pleasure to have you here on the program. Jimmy is my name. If you don't know your name by this time of the morning, I'm sorry. I apologize. Producer Chad always gives me a title, and I don't always see them. But this one he forewarned me about because I have been unleashed from the confines of corporate radio. He has called me the General of Corporate Rebellion in honor of our founding fathers and General George Washington. So I'm the General of Corporate Rebellion, and you're welcome for that. I appreciate it. Stacy Miller Pratt checks in. Texas gal checking in. Hello, Stacy. How are you? Good to talk to you. Good to hear from you. From the motherland, the great state of Texas. And to all of you Texans out there, we had Texas Day on Monday. Anybody remember Texas Day? We celebrated all the people from Texas because we have so many folks from Texas, the motherland, checking in on the show. So thank you, Stacy Miller Pratt, for checking in the great state of Texas. We need to declare another day, maybe Monday. Which state should we honor on Monday? We've had Texas Day. And everybody from Texas checked in. Monday, when we come back from the Independence Day, 4th of July holiday, we should have another day to celebrate in another state. So why don't you nominate which state we should nominate or which state we should celebrate? Stacy says she loved Texas Day. Well, God, what's there not to love about Texas Day? I mean, if you celebrate Texas Day, good Lord, they do have Whataburgers here in Colorado where I do this stream from, but they're a long ways from me. They're down in Colorado Springs for some reason. And if you have any pull there, Stacy, and the Whataburger people, could you tell them to stop being full retards? Could you tell them that don't cluster up all the freaking Whataburgers in the state in Colorado Springs? They don't like them. They're Colorado Springs are evil. Don't don't go there. They got to come north a little bit closer. If you have any pull of Whataburger, could you tell them to stop clustering up all the Whataburgers together? They could spread the love if they will. And so all the people in Colorado Springs, which I used to live down south, and I used to have a radio show in that market. But I tell you, It's really troublesome that I'd have to drive an hour and a half to Colorado Springs just to get Whataburger. I don't like it at all, Stacy. If you have any pull with the corporate bigwigs, I am the general of corporate rebellion, and I will rebel against the Whataburger Corporation if they don't straighten up and stop putting all the Whataburgers in the southern part of Colorado. Come north, my friends. Come north. All right, good to have all of you here. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, that brings me to the question of the day. The big, beautiful bill is the topic of the day. Also, there's a solid jobs report. The country has added like 100,000 more jobs than expected. The unemployment numbers are better than expected. The jobs numbers are expected. And it's just another news of this is a week of winning for Donald Trump. Now, I'm smart enough to know that life comes with ebb and flows. All of us have good times and all of us have bad times. All of us have been in life, and we've been on the mountaintop, and there's times that all of us have been in the valley. But Donald Trump is soaring up on the mountaintops, and he is stocking up the wins. And one of the wins that's coming out today is a solid jobs report, the trade progress. And remember what they said, Donald Trump's going to screw up the economy, the stock market, his tariffs. And unfortunately, all the experts and all the talking heads that told you this would happen because Donald Trump and A would equal B and this would get this reaction, they were lying to you all along. It was not true. The unemployment is down to 4.1%, 147,000 jobs added in the month of June, and it's very good. Rachel jumps in. I saw in the chat room. Let me bring producer. You bring that back up there, producer chat. Hi from Loveland, Colorado. Could you address all the lies we are hearing about how schools and rural hospitals will be closed when the big beautiful bill is passed? It's so troubling to know what is lying and what is truth. Actually, Rachel, we talked about late in the show yesterday that both the House and the Senate version increase spending to the rural hospitals. Here's what you have to know: if a Democrat is saying it, they're lying, because there's just nothing true. When they say they're going to trim the rolls of Medicaid, the only thing they're going to do is get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse. They're going to carry out the Bill Clinton days that if you're on Medicaid, if you're in government assistance, and you're an able working human, you need to be working and not taking handouts. And if that trims some people off because they don't want to go get a job, then so be it. If you're an illegal, you're not going to get the benefits to come to this country and live off the taxpayer's dime. You're not going to get the care that you used to get. That's what when they talk about they're going to cut Medicaid and millions of people will be off there. If millions of people are dumped off Medicaid, that just is a confession that Joe Biden has let millions of illegals into this country. You can search it out and realize that the funding for rural hospitals is actually still there. It's solid. There was some talk of cutting it. A lot of Republicans said, no, we're going to make sure we're going to do that. Rural Republicans jumped in there and in the red states, and they said, no, we got to save this because sometimes you got Republicans and Democrats that are centric to the big cities and they don't understand the plight of rural or agricultural America. But you had enough people in the red states stand up. So it's all lies. And here's how you know the lies. Here's how you know the lies. If you see a Democrat saying it, if you see Nancy Pelosi and her Botox butt there, and you see Hakeem Jeffries' lips are flapping, there is actually something that is something that's being told that's not true. That's how it is. But we talked about that. But there's a lot of lies. The rural hospital things are one of those indeed. And as far as the schools, recognize that funding comes from the Department of Education back to the state. And the states are pretty much this is why your states always have bond elections and elections to fund their schools, because the states need to step up and fund their schools. But the federal government is still going to send that education dollars. They may not send it to places, and there's talk of how much federal aid is going to go to states that are going to stand in the way of immigration enforcement. Whether that's education dollars, it's probably going to be reimbursement for Medicare is what that money is going to come from. So it's all lies. It's all lies. It's all lies. All right. Trump's wins of the week continue to mount, and these jobs numbers are quite fascinating, and they are very good for a heck of a lot of us. I have a question of the day for you. Producer Chad and I have contemplated, and we have considered all the great questions, and we figured out the two things of this audience. Number one, you're wonderful. Okay, that's the first one. You're wonderful because you join us, whether you watch us live on these streams across America, we're on several platforms, or whether you listen to us on the podcast later in the day on all the podcast platforms. Thank you. You're wonderful people. That's the first thing we know about this audience. The second thing we know about this audience is they like questions of the day, and the ones that are most successful happen to be with travel and or food. Evidently, you're a traveling bunch of vagabonds and you like to eat, because anytime we ask a food question, everybody gets animated like a hungry hippo. Everybody gets excited. So we have a food question for you today. There is a study out there, and I have it here in my fingertips. And let me get it here. I don't want to tease you and not show you exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The survey says in the Instacart company, anybody use the Instacart? They are looking at potato chip brands that are being delivered in lieu of the 4th of July barbecues and cookouts that are going to happen. And which is the must buy, the best potato chip that you take and have to buy for your 4th of July party? What is the potato chip that you have to take? It's actually quite interesting what Instacart has reported. Again, question of the day, all the platforms out there. Rumble, I want to hear from you this morning. YouTubers, we have a very few amount of YouTubers, so you have to stand up for yourself. We're not huge on the YouTube, partially because they don't like us and they kick us off a lot. And so a lot of good conservative people know that you don't want to watch YouTube, right? But if you're on YouTube this morning, check in. Anytime you post a comment, you will hear... anytime you post a comment on the YouTube, you will find us, it'll show up in the screen. Now, if you're on the Instagram this morning, and I think we had a little Instagram trouble, but I believe we're live on the Instagram now. I think we finally got connected. Instagram's been having trouble all week. So if you've been trying to watch us on Instagram, we're sorry. Instagram comments do not come right here into the studio, but all the other platforms do come right here, and we love to have you. So what is your go-to potato chip for the 4th of July celebration, your 4th of July barbecue, Independence Day celebration? What is your go-to potato chip? I ask you, therefore, now to tell me the details. Instacart has done the survey. Ruffles and Lays are very big. In every part of the country, Ruffles and Lays are the big ones. Just the plain old Ruffles. Ruffles have ridges, don't forget that. And the Lays, they're very big across America. But regionally, there's also some caveats and some differences. Kettle brand chips are very popular on the West Coast. Anybody like the Kettle brand chips? I like the Kettle brand because they have a little thickness and the crunch is amazing on those. The Kettle brand is good. Utz or Utz, I don't know, how do you say that? Utz or Utz, U-T-Z? If you have the Utz, they're very big on the East Coast. So West Coast, it's like East Coast, West Coast rap gang wars. Here we go. Utz are big on the East Coast, and Kettle brand is in the West Coast. If you're a Cape Cod potato chip fan, that is the top brand in New England. You ready? The top brand in New England is the Cape Cod brand. Ohio, Alabama, and Missouri, they love their Pringles. That's the one you have to have. Now, see, all of a sudden, you're jumping in with a lot of great ideas. Lisa says you can't go wrong with wavy Lays. Arloa jumps in and says regular Lays potato chips. See, again, Lays and Ruffles, very big nationally, but there's some regional caveats that you have to know. A poll this week found that chips are the second most popular 4th of July side dish after potato salad. After potato salad, the people are going to have their... They're going to have potato chips. That's the second most popular thing that's out there. Instacart also said there's some caveats. Most of the country is a big fan of Ruffles, including almost all of the Rocky Mountain states. Rocky Mountain states, Colorado, the chips would be Ruffles. It would be your chips of choice. And Florida goes for Boulder Canyon. Boulder Canyon chips. The sad thing is I've had all those. Roger says the chip is a delivery mechanism for good dip. You go with the Kettle air fryer because they're not oily and they don't interfere with the dip. Producer Chad pointed this out. His favorite chip is any tortilla chip or like the Tostitos, because you can put the sour cream dip on it. You can put the salsa on it. So he's a big fan of the Tostitos or the tortilla chips. But is the chip to you just a delivery mechanism? I think in many cases it is. For me, it's a mechanism of salt. I am a salt guy. I love salt. Salty over sweet. That's why the cheese on the pie doesn't excite me, because it forces me to eat pie, which I would normally not eat. You go to somewhere where you have great desserts. I don't really give a rat's patootie about your dessert. Oh, Scott jumps in. Good morning, Jimmy. Doritos and his wife is Cheetos. See, that's a divided family. But you do have a theme. You do like cheese. If you do the nacho cheese Doritos. Scott says, good morning from Laramie, Chad and Master of Disaster. That's master of the microphone and master of corporate rebellion, Mr. Scott. Watch your mouth. Clean up your act. New Jersey and Pennsylvania love HERS, HERRS. I've never heard of that. If you're a Northeasterner, maybe you're watching us on the Media Equalizer page or the Red Wave America, big presence in New York on those pages. Please let us know about HERS chips. And all of New England loves Cape Cod chips. I have seen those. These states are, a lot of states are obsessed with Pringles. People, Ohio, Alabama, Missouri, they love the Pringles and they cannot stop. Your favorite potato chip to take to the 4th of July cookout or the 4th of July party, what would you do? It is the second biggest condiment or party edition behind the potato salad, and so God bless potato chips. I was surprised that Doritos don't really show up on a lot of the list. They're not talking about they don't tell which flavors of them, because there are certain times, like the Boulder Canyon chips, they have some great flavors of chips. A salt and vinegar chip is very good because I like the spices and the salt and the vinegar combo. Sometimes some people make a dill pickle. Anybody had the ketchup Lay's? Producer Chad and I were talking about that. Of course, the flavors were not necessarily discussed in the polls, but the brands were. And what's interesting is that Cheetos and Doritos don't seem to be the go-to. Which I find interesting and strange, because having raised a son and always kept my house stocked up when all the friends came over, you always had to have the Doritos in the pantry, and you had to have the nacho cheese Doritos, and you had to have the what was it called? Cool Ranch Doritos. They love the Cool Ranch Doritos for some reason. Anyway, your go-to potato chip for the 4th of July cookout. Love to hear from you on that. All right, the judges are back at it. You have an Obama-appointed judge blocking some of Trump's dealings on immigration. If I were these judges, they may want to start paying attention to what the Supreme Court has said, because pretty much everything that the Trump administration has taken to the Supreme Court and appealed even to higher courts, even not the Supreme Court's the highest, but even these district judges, it goes a little bit higher up into an appellate, and boom, you oftentimes find that they're overturned. But an Obama-appointed judge is again thinking that he is the president of the United States, and says Trump has exceeded his executive authority. One of the things that there's a protected status that they gave to Haitian immigrants, and Donald Trump and his administration said, we're waiving that protected status. And the judge says you can't waive the protected status. So one president can grant the protected status, but the other guy can't cancel it. So obviously there's a little conflict here. It's not good. But the judge says you have to wait till February, because that's when Joe Biden, when he was crapping his pants one day, decided that February of 2026 is when that protected status for Haitian refugees or Haitian immigrants or illegals or whatever, they're here, and you can't kick them out because they have protected status up until the February of next year, and you got to keep them here. And it makes no sense that one president can sign. It's kind of like you have an executive power that one president has it to declare, but they don't want to have Trump overturn anything that crappy poopy pants Joe Biden did. President Trump will win that in court, and he continues to just keep winning. And these judges out there cause you to have a lot of doubts and a lot of questions about the justice system of America. So we can follow that story as well. What else do we have on the stack of stuff? We're waiting for Ann Vandersteel to arrive. She has not made it into the program yet. We were hoping so. Oh, speaking of judges, have anybody followed this story? Remember that Maryland dad that all the left was so enamored with? He was just a Maryland father, he's accused of child trafficking. Human trafficking. He's accused of, was it human trafficking? I think it was human trafficking. He's accused of all sorts of things. He wasn't just a Maryland dad. He was deported. Then he was brought back here by El Salvador, and then he was arrested and put in jail. Well, the Democrats are still standing by this human trafficking supposed illegal, and they're doing everything they can to show their love for this guy. So now that the Supreme Court has told President Trump that you do have permission to deport and get these people even into third-party nations. If you want to send them to a jail in Haiti or Salvador, you have the right to send them far, far away. And the Supreme Court has cleared a way for that to happen. Well, ICE has now said, well, rather than put this guy on trial for human trafficking, why don't we just kick his ass out of the country? And so a federal magistrate judge in Tennessee is delaying the release of MS-13 gang member so he doesn't get deported. Kilmar Abrego Garcia will stay in jail for now over concerns that he could be deported if he's released to await trial. So they were going to release him to await his trial on bond or bail for human smuggling charges. And a federal judge in Tennessee says, well, we know if we let you out of jail, ICE is going to be waiting and you won't stand trial. And so this judge is keeping this guy in jail at the taxpayer's expense, even though he's supposed to be released to go out and wait for his trial. The judge is keeping him in jail just so that ICE can't get him. And that judge is, again, a judge in Tennessee, a federal judge. Not sure who he is, who appointed him, but I'm having a feeling it's probably an Obama appointee because a lot of these people do seem to be Obama appointees. They really do. All right, it's a pleasure to have all of you here on the show. Again, don't forget our question of the day on this 4th of July Independence Day Eve is what is your favorite potato chip to take to the 4th of July cookout? Love to hear from you on that. Also, don't forget, if you missed the show today, I know a holiday, a lot of people are heading out of town, and maybe you're on the road and you're not going to get to watch all the show. Don't forget, anytime you miss the program, go to all the podcast platforms. By the end of the day, between the live show and the podcast streams, thousands of earballs listen to this show or see this show every day. And if you want to make sure you are never missing an episode, go to your favorite podcast platform, download the show, listen. And the way you find this program is just type in Jimmy Lakey Unleashed. Unleashed from the confines of corporate America and corporate radio. You can just look for Jimmy Lakey Unleashed on your favorite podcast platform. And when you find it, hit like, hit subscribe, and every day you will automatically have access to this program so that if by chance you miss it, boom, you'll have it in your ear holes as quickly as you want to. So this show right here that you're all getting to watch right now on all the platforms out there we're streaming on. We're on several Facebook streams this morning, Red Wave America, the Media Equalizer, of course, Jimmy Lakey fan page. That's my page. We're on the YouTube this morning. We're on the Rumble this morning. We're on the Instagrams this morning. So wherever you're watching the show, we're glad to have you out there watching us. But if you ever miss it, you can go watch and listen to it, I should say, on your favorite podcast platform. All right, we're going to go to our first guest of the morning here momentarily. Everybody stand by. But I want you to see this, my friends. This is very big news. I'm going to shut my mouth and let you watch this little video because I'm always about giving you good things, not just a show, not just conversation and contemplation and all the things that we do here in pontification. We want you to be able to win a 2025 Ford Bronco Raptor. And I'm giving you the chance on this show to be some of the first people to get into the sweepstakes. Watch this right now. Go. All right, you saw it. It's sexy, isn't it? That's a Ford Bronco Raptor. The Raptor edition is different than the normal Bronco. The Raptor, Ford came out years ago with a Raptor truck. They're high dollar. They're made for a Baja racing style, and they're made to go across the desert, but they're also made to look really sexy. And recently they came out with what is called the Raptor, the Bronco Raptor, and it's a sexy vehicle, and they're not as necessarily easy to get. We have already ordered this vehicle. It is on order. It will be done at the factory just about the time that the sweepstakes ends, and you can take delivery if you win the sweepstakes, and you can go to riverspromise.org. There's a little tab at the top that says win, W-I-N, and it tells you how you can enter the sweepstakes for the 2025 Ford Bronco Raptor. And so it's a very fun way to donate to our charity, Rivers Promise, and it's also a fun way to use that donation to perhaps parlay it into a Bronco. Now, if you don't want the Bronco and you win, you can take a cash buyout of that. We'll give you a lot of cash for it instead of the Bronco. But go register, and that Ford Bronco Raptor, you're going to be hearing about it a lot. And register at riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com. Either way, up at the top on the menu bar, you'll see WIN, W-I-N, and that's how you get your sweepstakes entries in to win the 2025 Ford Bronco Raptor. And again, great way to celebrate and contribute to our charity cause, Rivers Promise, as we build schools and educate kids in Africa. Rwanda, of course, I was there just 2 weeks ago. I look forward to going back. I wish I was there now, but I'm not there. I'll get back there probably sometime in the fall of the year. But win the Ford Bronco Raptor. Rivers Promise website, click the win tab, and you can win that sexy Ford Bronco Raptor. It's a fun car. And if I were eligible to win, I've already bought entry. I've already donated just to test out the system because I think it's really cool that we're doing a sweepstakes, but I can't win. So if my name gets drawn, I do not get to win. The board of directors of the charity doesn't get to win. But we don't get to win. The organization running the sweepstakes takes great pride and effort to know that somebody's going to win that Bronco Raptor, and I'm excited to give it away. So please, if you would jump in and register riverspromise.com and go to the win tab, please. Thank you. Por favor. Gracias. Got all the languages in? Oui, yes. All right, let's go to our guest here. His name is Nil Gravilius. Of course, you may remember Nils. He's a private investigator based out in the West Coast of America. It's good to bring him in. No relation to Sherlock Holmes, I don't think, but Nils, welcome back to the program, sir.
Well, hello, Mr. Lakey. How are you today?
I am very well, sir. Solved any great crimes here the last since we talked to you last?
Well, I figured out who stole the tuna sandwich out of the refrigerator at the office. Since it was 2 weeks old, they can keep it.
They can keep it.
I've been a busy boy.
In radio days, you always knew that the overnight guys who work the overnights, they would always take the food. And I did know a friend, and I don't know the results of it. He said he made a tuna sandwich one time, but he used cat food because he got tired of people stealing his. And not sure if nobody confessed, but he knows that someone at least took a bite and said, that's nasty, but he used cat food. Don't steal the tuna sandwich. It could be bad.
A little bit of onion soup mix in cat food makes a great party dip for your worst enemies.
Remember that, kids. You got a 4th of July celebration, the cul-de-sac, the block parties. And if you got some of those neighbors that are up late at night, this is a special dip you make just for them. All right, Nils, I want to jump into this topic of conversation, these murder of these students up in Idaho that happened a couple of years ago, I think 2022. Nick Koberg jumps in at the last minute and declares himself guilty. And a lot of the families were shocked by this guilty plea bargain. They didn't like it. They wanted to see the guy stand trial. They wanted to have the guy on the stand. They wanted to get to the bottom of it. Give me your thoughts on an investigation, which highly unusual, a high-profile murder case, that someone actually says, I did it. I thought that was kind of unusual. I thought it was going to go to trial and all the details were going to be aired out. He says, I'm guilty. I did it. Locked me up the rest of my life. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, I have a few thoughts. You'll notice that the prosecutor and the judge did not take from this man a full allocution, which is the $20 word, Mr. Lakey, that means a full confession under oath of exactly what he did and why he did it. And I think that Koberger's attorneys maneuvered them quite skillfully. If the prosecutor has allowed this to occur, I wouldn't have much faith in that prosecutor, even though they had a very good case. Koberger, I think, wanted to conceal from his family the dark depths of his soul. It's my belief that he is an MDSO psychopath who will be defending his virginity for the rest of his life in prison. Mr. Koberger slaughtered these people probably because one of those females rejected him, or more likely than that, he perceived he would be rejected. So to foreclose himself from the possibility of rejection, he decided to kill her in advance of any rejection. I know that sounds crazy. Well, psychopaths are crazy.
It's fascinating. He's psychopathic, and yet you're saying that a psychopath can have thoughtfulness enough to say, I want to spare my family from seeing how demented and deranged I am. Are those two values at odds of each other? I'm crazy, and yet I still want to protect my family?
Not at all. It's not about protecting his family. It's about protecting his own ego. would, his parents are both mental health professionals. If they knew exactly what was going on in his heart and his mind, they might not visit him in prison. They might cut him off completely. One of the aspects of the psychopath is a metastatic ego, and to lose the attention of his parents would be quite sad for Koberger. I don't think his parents, they're such civilians, I don't think they have any idea what their son is. It used to be for somebody to become a psychopath, they'd have to grow up in an institution or a home where there was a random reward for negative acts. But I think Brian Koberger was made into a psychopath by social media and searchable internet porn. You'll notice that the prosecution isn't talking about what they found in his phone and his computer, other than some searches for weapons, buying a K-bar knife on Amazon, that sort of thing. My belief is that this man is a classic mentally disordered sex offender, and without modern investigative technology in the form of DNA triangulation, it would have taken them months or years to identify this man, and he would have killed over and over again. He is
Well,
a classic serial killer.
it seemed as if right up until the guilty plea, his defense was asking to make sure that others that they could be brought into evidence, that there were other people that were questioned about the crime. His defense seemed to be trying to make kind of an effort that we're going to at least try to plant some reasonable doubt. Do you think the defense was surprised that Mr. Koberger comes in and says, "I want to plead guilty," or because it seems like they were putting up a defense until they weren't?
I don't think his lawyers were surprised at all. I think that this was going to be in the offing the entire time. Um, any good defense attorney is always going to evaluate the best case scenario for a plea bargain if they don't have a great defense case, and they did not have a great defense case. They did very well with what they have, is what I'll say. The DNA is dead bang, and there was a lot of talk in media, but I think it was just to keep market share about defense strategies that they might have. The DNA is dead bang, and once the prosecutor revealed the metadata from his phone, where his phone was and wasn't, turned on, turned off, where his car was seen, that sort of thing, that just builds the case even further. And Koberger, for his part, he won't like prison, but he would hate being executed by people less than him even more. And that would be Koberger's attitude, that he's too good to be executed by mere citizens.
Yeah. You're listening to the voice, you're listening to the podcast and not watching. Obviously, you don't see the screen at the bottom. Niels Gravelius is my guest, LA-based private detective, conducts investigations without regard to local and national borders. A lot of great cases he's worked on. Glad to have Niels back on the program here. I would be derelict in my duties if I did not, first of all, so Gravelius Detective Services will tell you how to learn more about that in a moment. I'd be derelict in my duty if I didn't talk about the story of the week, probably, is that Sean Diddy Combs was found not guilty on multiple counts in a sex trafficking trial. Some of the most lurid and big allegations against him, he was found not guilty on. The judge said he has to stay in jail until his sentencing, realizing or saying that he's a flight risk. Give me your thoughts. What went wrong with this prosecution? And they put some pretty big charges against him, and some of the biggest charges against Diddy Combs didn't get convicted.
I think the prosecution overcharged him. They were trying to kill a cockroach with a sledgehammer here. This is worthy of city or county vice prosecution. There is a lot of sex trafficking in this country. Most of the people involved in this appear to be willing participants in whatever Mr. Combs had going on at home. And all of the fools in social media, that sort of thing, are paying close attention. People will soon be trying to mimic Diddy parties. They will advertise those things on the socials, and it'll be part of the social influencing scene for the lower strata. people trying to have parties exactly like those of Mr. Combs.
I have the story that evidently his supporters, in celebration of finding not guilty. Now, the guy could still be facing 20 years in jail, but they took to the streets, and his supporters were squirting baby oil on each other, celebrating it a great victory. It's kind of interesting. The guy could still spend the next 20 years of his life in jail, and yet his lawyers and everybody declared victory yesterday. That's kind of a weird signal. Victory. We're only facing 20 years.
Well, it is a victory of sorts for vice and licentiousness. Well, look at me. I went to a sex orgy and a celebrity party broke out. This is going to occur over and over again. And Mr. Combs isn't the first one to comport himself in public this way. He's not extraordinary. And in 10 years, people won't remember who he is without doing a Google search.
Yeah. It's fascinating. The congratulations, 50 Cent, his rapper friend, congratulating him, but in a backhanded way. He said, "Did he beat the Rico? That boy, a bad man. He like the gay John Gotti." He said, I guess that's a compliment from 50 Cent.
I think so.
Yeah.
I wanted you to know, Mr. Lakey, that in June of 26, my professional memoir will be published by Post Hill Press. It is entitled The Last Lawman. And when that book is ready, I'm going to make sure that you get a signed copy of it.
I got to wait a whole year for this, you said?
I'm waiting also, Mr. Lakey.
Okay. It hurts my feelings, but tell him to hurry up. Tell him we're very important people here.
We're going to do that, Mr. Lakey, and I want you to understand I'm always standing by like a mean dog on a weak leash to discuss any matter of criminality, vice, or licentiousness on your show.
I appreciate it. Your website's right there on the screen, Gravilius PI, private investigator PI.com, GraviliusPI.com. A lot of folks think it'd be cool to hire a private investigator, but they don't know why. I mean, I've always wanted to hire like a private investigator, but I don't know if I have anything to hire you for. I don't even have anybody I need to track or find out what they're doing, I don't think.
Well, do you have any dead bodies you need found? Some relative kidnapped in a foreign country, something like that? How about a cold case homicide in your backyard, Mr. Lakey?
Yeah. John Benet Ramsey, they still haven't figured that out. That's just down the road about 30 minutes. They still haven't figured that one out.
Well, yes, that's what they say. My sense of that case is that they've always known who did it. They just can't make the case for it. So they just keep it close to the vest, pending the ability to make the case. I'll give you another example of that. There's an old multiple homicide case in Texas called the Texas Yogurt Shop murder case. Texas Department of Public Safety, the Rangers, they know who the man is who did those murders, but because they can't make a case on him, they call it unsolved. And it's frequently a topic of discussion among bloggers and true crime enthusiasts, that sort of thing, speculating about Satanism and that sort of thing. But the man who did the murders is in custody or has died in the state prison system of Texas. Oh. He was interviewed over 40 times.
Niels Gravilius, I appreciate your time as always, and thanks for hopping on the program and giving your insight. Again, your website for your private investigator services, GraviliusPI.com. Thank you very much, Mr. Gravilius. I appreciate it. Calls me Mr. Lakey, and I called him Niels. I got to go Mr. Gravilius. I got to remember that. All right, Jeff jumps in, says, love Niels, very funny and down to earth. Look at there, Niels, Mr. Gravilius. You have a great fan in Jeff, and great to have you. Don't forget our question of the day. The question of the day is simply this right here. Your favorite potato chip that you have to take to the 4th of July barbecue party. A lot of you sounding off on the Lays and the Ruffles, and love to hear from you on your 4th of July favorite potato chip. Also, before we go to my next guest, I want to remind you, let's play this video one more time. I think it's very important that you see the video because you have a chance to win. You got to get a ticket to the sweepstakes. I want to do it one more time here today. Go. Who wants to win this thing? You want to win it? you got to do is go to riverspromise.org, click the win tab. You can enter the sweepstakes, and all the instructions, directions, and clarifications are there. We're going to be giving it away, a 2025 Ford Bronco Raptor. It is on special order already, being made in the Ford factory, and we will deliver it to you should you win 2025 Ford Bronco Raptor. Fun way to donate to charity. And it's also a fun way to maybe get a new great car by the end of the year. So anyway, you can donate today. Rivers Promise, go to the win tab, and you will see the sweepstakes entries available to you there. One more quick note before I go to my next guest. Rivers Promise 9th Annual Golf Tournament coming up Friday, September the 5th. That's 2025. It's at the Colorado National Golf Club in Erie. And if you haven't registered or signed up as a sponsor, that is open to you right now. It's the Rivers Promise 9th Annual Golf Tournament coming up, and look forward to seeing many of you there playing golf. If you're not a golfer, it doesn't matter because it's really more of a party where some golf breaks out on occasion, and a lot of folks just drive around in drunken stupors in golf carts. That's really what some folks do, and they slap sticks at balls and go, I think I hit it, and they didn't hit it because they didn't know. It's a great party. You don't want to miss it. It's September the 5th coming up a couple of months away, and get signed up, riverspromise.com. You'll see the events tab, and go to the events page. You can see how to register there. Let me welcome into the program someone you got to meet last time when I was doing the show from Rwanda. His name is Michael McNamara. I'll give you a quick bio reminder of who Michael is. He's written a book called From Trauma to Joy, and he is an author of From Trauma to Joy, Life-Changing Lessons, How U.S. Marines Taught Me After Traumatic Events Occurred in His Life, lessons that can apply to anybody. The name of the book is From Trauma to Joy, and I bring him in now. Michael McNamara, welcome back to the show, sir.
Well, welcome home.
Thank you.
And it's happy 4th of July, and it's great to be here. Thanks, Jimmy.
I appreciate you hopping on here. The 4th of July is why you're kind of in here the last minute, but I wanted to bring you on here and talk about it because it's a time to pause and celebrate the glory of America, the beauty of America. And sometimes when you're in the middle of trauma and everybody's around you joyful and celebrating, it's not easy to feel the same celebration. And I want you to just kind of address that, how sometimes in our pain, it's probably good to stop and find something to celebrate. And maybe America is what we should celebrate, especially when you think about the Marines that serve this country so sacrificially, to talk about the celebration of America, sir.
Well, the first thing I encourage people to do is read the Declaration of Independence. Over the course of this weekend, take 5 minutes, which it won't take you 5 minutes to read, but read the founding document of our nation. Read what they said. I mean, if you ever want to see or read a document that gives somebody the middle finger, read the Declaration of Independence, right? They're not happy with the King of England, and they let him know, and they enumerate every grievance they have. And then to me, when you read the history of the document, supposedly the thing that made King George angry was that they signed it. And I had this little comedy routine because he had seen these documents before, right? But nobody signed it. And like his scribe brings it to him, right? And unrolls it on a table and anchors it down. And he sees John Hancock's signature. And he looks at the scribe and he says, "What font is that?" And the scribe says, "Oh, sire, that would be the FU font right there, right?" And that is the document. The document is this incredible declaration by these brilliant men, right, who wrote that. And so to me, the first thing I tell people is read it. Read it. Understand how your nation was founded, and then take another 5 minutes and read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, the first 10 articles. Just read those, and you're going to see how brilliant our founding fathers were, and that you won the ovarian lottery to be born here. If you think your life sucks, go around the world, right?
Yeah.
And then come back and tell me that, yeah, my life's not great, but it could be a whole lot worse were I not born in this country, if I not had all the opportunities that lay at my feet. And I want to say one other thing as a retired Marine, right? The privilege of citizenship in the United States, okay, comes with the responsibility, to vote. And just know this, all those people, most of them very young, that are in our national cemeteries, with a piece of marble sticking out of their forehead, that was not their life's dream. But they answer the nation's call. So what is your responsibility to them? Volunteer in your community, help. You have a duty to this democracy. And we don't like that D word, right? We don't like a lot of D words. Discipline is one, duty's another, right? But you have a duty to this democracy, to your community, to maybe go pick up trash, to maybe volunteer and help to make it better. But I think that's what it is to be an American. And it starts with reading, our founding documents, and then acknowledging how lucky we are to be in this country.
Yeah. If you're listening to the audio portion later, as this becomes a podcast, as thousands of people do every week, Michael F. McNamara is a guest that you hear the voice of. His book is called From Trauma to Joy, Life-Changing Lessons that fellow U.S. Marines taught him after traumatic events occurred in his life. And he retired from the U.S. Marine Corps in 2015, enlisted in 1983, left active duty in 94, went back in 2004, deployed to Iraq twice, Afghanistan once as an infantry leader, and again, then retired again in 2015. Mr. McNamara, a question for you. I'm hearing the numbers yesterday that enlistment is way up under this president, Donald Trump. The Air Force is just surging right now. Everybody went after that bombing of Iran, where people saw those B-2 bombers. People are wanting to join the Air Force now. If you go back to your 17, 18-year-old self, talk about what drove you to want to enlist in the Marine Corps, and kind of the fervor that you're seeing of young people now racing to get into the military.
Well, I came in as an officer, so I was probably 24 when I signed up. I had graduated from college. I'd been an athlete my whole life. I was on teams, and I loved that. I was a bit of a leader on those teams. And so I graduated from the University of San Diego with my degree in economics. I went to work for Merrill Lynch in Los Angeles, and I hated it. So within 2 years of doing that, I said, I've got to do something that I want to do, that I'm passionate about. And I listed everything, and I decided that I was either going to become a teacher and a coach, or I was going to join the Marine Corps. Not the military. I wanted to be a Marine. I had read their history as a kid. I'd seen a lot of them in Southern California, and they always impressed me. And so I decided the sequence should be, I should join the Marine Corps, because if I don't like it, I can get out and become a teacher. But if I do it the other way around, I'll be too old to be a Marine. So I made probably the greatest and most influential decision in my life, right, was to serve my nation and be a Marine, and to be on just a great team, right? I didn't do it for any other benefit. I wanted to be on a great team. I wanted to go around the world. I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to be outside. And so I became an infantry officer in the Marine Corps, and I loved every second of it, by the way.
What do you think the young folks today, these young men and young women that are watching these B-2 bombers, maybe, what is it you think is drawing them to have this sudden surge, really since January of this year, and just spring has been overwhelming for the military? They're hitting all their recruitment goals. What do you think that's drawing young people to the military now, that maybe a year or so ago they were like, I think I'll skip that option?
Well, I mean, we saw a similar trend when President Reagan got elected. All of a sudden, you have a president who's not apologizing for the nation, but he's talking about the greatness of the nation. And not that the nation doesn't have flaws, but for instance, when you think about the United States, there's no nation in the history of the world that goes around the world, fights a war, and then gives that country back to the citizens of that country and doesn't stay and exploit it. There's only one country in the history of the world that does that. And so you have a president who articulates that message, who's proud. And so I think that that's really important. And I think that and then when you have a military operation like that, right, that really did captivate the imagination of the public. I mean, nobody else could do that. Take off from Missouri, fly halfway around the world, project that kind of combat power with that kind of precision, not hurt any civilian, and bring everybody home. I mean, even the Chinese are watching that, and they're wannabes, right? They want to be like us. They can't do that. To tank it all the way around the world and then tank it all the way back, right? And no issues. That excites young people. They get excited by the technology. They get excited about, I mean, really the sense of adventure. Could I be a part of that? And I think when you combine those things, I think it bodes well for recruiters.
Yeah. Again, the voice of Michael F. McNamara, veteran and author. You said earlier your kind of wish is everybody would read the Declaration of Independence over the course of the holiday, Independence Day. They should. I'll let you, again, as we celebrate, this is 249 years as a country. Are you optimistic that our best days, some people say, well, we're getting close to the end of the republic. Republics can't last that long. What is your optimism level for the future of this country, sir?
Well, I am optimistic, and I'm optimistic because I meet young people all the time. But I think we go through cycles in our history. If you read our history, we do, where we have to relearn certain lessons. You know, we have to relearn. We have to learn that, you know, the people who came before us who enacted vagrancy laws, they weren't mean people, but they knew the lifeblood of a city was its downtown, and people had to be able to go down there without stepping in human waste and over bodies and needles and things like that. Well, we're relearning some of these lessons, right? We're, you know, for instance, when you study the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, you realize why we don't have a president elected by popular vote, because we wouldn't even have a nation if that was a proposal. South Carolina, Rhode Island, Connecticut, they would not have joined that union. So we have to relearn these issues, right? And as we relearn them, right, I think people are better able to rededicate themselves to this unique experiment in democracy, right, that we have been and we will continue to be. There's nothing close. And if you don't believe me, go around the world a little bit.
Yeah.
Jimmy, you just did a little bit of it. There's nothing close to the United States with all of our warts. Okay. Yeah. So I'm extremely optimistic because I see the lifeblood of America, which is America's young people. So I don't share anybody's pessimism, and I think they need to get out and travel a little bit, those shut-ins who are pessimistic.
Yeah. You have a website called Post-Traumatic Winning. Of course, the name of the book, we've already given that, but I'll give it again. It's called From Trauma to Joy, Life-Changing Lessons that fellow U.S. Marines taught you after the traumatic events occurred in your life. You outlined in your last interview with us some of those traumatic events that weren't even necessarily part of the military, but still traumatic, and you learn some lessons from that. The website Post-Traumatic you just had, we have on the screen there, the Post-Traumatic Winning. Give the elevator push for the book. Why should people have it? It's you learn lessons from Marines, but all of us are going to have trauma. Not all of us. We all don't camp out on the mountaintop. We all hit the valleys every once in a while. Talk about the book and your website, sir.
Well, you know, I told you last time that the worst thing, I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan for 3 years of my life. I'm an infantry officer. And so, but the worst thing I ever saw was my sister's kids were murdered by her husband when she said she wanted a divorce. 6 years old, 4 years old, and he killed himself after that. And so what the book is a blueprint. How do you get out of the valley of the shadow of death? What do you do? And so, I mean, I try to tell people the truth, right? You're not going to get over it. When you struggle, that makes you a normal human being, and you can still live a great life, but you've got to learn how to do that. And that is what the book teaches, right? And so this idea of post-traumatic winning, which is the website, as a Marine, we can win on Iwo Jima. We can win on the battlefield wherever we go, but we can't win in the valley of the shadow of death. That's too hard. And my response to that was no. No, not only no, but hell no. How do we do it? What do we have to do? Because the mentality of Marines is we're going to win. The question is, how much blood do we have to shed? So to me, it's this relentless optimism, you know, combined with an understanding of the truth, right? So that you can live a great life. And part of living a great life is you learn this stuff and then you begin to help other people. And when somebody looks at you and says, I'm alive today because of you, I was going to kill myself the night we had that conversation. Good luck sleeping that night. You won't, because you will have completed the journey from trauma to joy. And that's all we can do. But that's not the way the nation treats us. The nation wants to medicate us and send us to forever therapy. I'll tell you, I think there's a better way that applies to probably about 96% of us in this country. So that's what the book is about. It's a blueprint. So
posttraumaticwinning.com is the name of the website. You can learn more about Michael McNamara. And also, if folks want a copy of the book, Mr. McNamara, where do they go?
Amazon.com.
Amazon.com. From
Come
Trauma
on,
to Joy.
Where else?
I thought you were going to say that, but sometimes some people say, go to my website, it's better. But
No.
Amazon.com, Michael McNamara, his website is posttraumaticwinning.com. Sir, thank you for joining the show once again. Thank you for your service to your country and your contribution to help all of us take our trauma and get over to the joy side of things. I appreciate you, sir. Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence. Thank you for having me, and thank you for servicing this important subject, Jimmy. God bless you.
God bless you. Posttraumaticwinning.com, Michael F. McNamara. And again, the name of the book, if you want to go back, we should, it was one of the shows I did in Rwanda a couple of weeks ago. A fantastic response all of you had to his interview. And we went about 25, 30 minutes there. And the name of the book is called From Trauma to Joy, Life-Changing Lessons That Fellow U.S. Marines Taught Me After Traumatic Events Occurred in His Life. And it's Michael F. McNamara. And we appreciate him hopping on the program today. All right, we're waiting the arrival of Mr. Jay Ratliff, our aviation and travel expert. You never want to miss Jay on the program. He's going to join us. It's been a couple of weeks since we've talked to him because I was traveling on a couple of Fridays and then he was busy. It feels like a Friday because tomorrow's off, a Thursday. And I was busy and he was busy. So we're going to reconvene here, hopefully in just a matter of a few moments. But let me also remind you about Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com. I mentioned yesterday that 87-year-old fan, Irene, messaged me on the social media and said, I need a realtor, Jimmy. Who is it? And I said, you got to call Sherry, homeswithsherry.com. And when I told Sherry, hey, dear lady named Irene may be in touch with you very soon, hopefully, I gave the phone number out and gave the website. And Irene needed a realtor. And Sherry reminded me that she loves taking care of seniors. Seniors have very special needs, usually when they're in a real estate search. Maybe they're selling their home. And there's just special treatment. There's special things that they are looking for that maybe a young couple's not. And Sherry's very attuned to that, and she wants to help you make those moves that you need to make and do what you got to do. And also, a lot of times as seniors, they can find themselves in a caregiving situation. If you're a senior or a caregiver out there, don't hesitate to call Sherry. If you've served your country as a veteran, she takes a dip on her commission so that makes it more affordable for you to have a home. She's just a fantastic person of taking care of everybody, but she has a special place in her heart for the people that are veterans, have served their country, first responders, and for the seniors and the caregivers. Listen, I tell you over and over again, she looks at real estate in a way of not just a transaction, but she looks at it in a way that says, hey, this is going to build generational wealth if you play it right. It's not just about sticking the sign in the yard. Yeah, that's important. It's important right now. We talked about this early in the week on Tuesday with her, that this is a buyer's market. So if you're a seller, you need to have great advice on how to list your home. And you need to have that house ready to sell because the buyers have a little bit of advantage right now. So anyway, buyer's market, if you're a buyer, she can help make sure that you get to see the homes when they come out. She's going to take care of it. It's all from a perspective of she's working to earn the right, the privilege to be your realtor for life. And she's not just looking out for that one transaction. She wants to work with you, your family, even your children. When they get house buying age, she wants to do that. She comes at it with that paradigm, and every action she takes is doing that to build that respectful relationship. Homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. I shall say it again, homeswithsherry.com. Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com. Make sure you tell her that Jimmy Lakey's talking about her. And again, maybe you're not going to sell right now, but you can start putting the strategy in place. She's had people that talk to her and a year later call her back and say, we're ready. And she thought maybe they moved on, but no, they were just taking some advice and realized it wasn't the time. Homeswithsherry.com. Reach out to her if you've got real estate in your future. Feel free to do so. All right, your breaking news of the story of the morning is the big, beautiful bill is right very close to the finish line in the House of Representatives. Right now, Hakeem Jeffries, though, is continuing a marathon speech ahead of the vote. Basically, it's akin to a temper tantrum that old Hakeem is doing and gumming up the works of the House. But the inevitable is it looks like it's going to be a passing here momentarily. Speaker Johnson says that Donald Trump was very engaged in the negotiations to get this across the finish line. Donald Trump himself has tweeted what a great night it was. One of the greatest nights in American history. Evidently, he was up late working the phones and letting people know. And I think the important thing for all of us who think this is not necessarily the best bill that we could get, you have to realize that it is probably the best bill we could get with the circumstances. And in getting it, you need to know that there's going to be what we call another bite at the apple, and that other that other bite of the apple is going to come with more reconciliation bills. I think that's very important to note, that there's going to be more bites of the apple, more reconciliation bill. There's going to be the rescission bill, and some of the things that are coming out that were rumored that got cut from the bill did not get cut. There is a cut in the Medicaid funding that we're going to give to illegals. We don't have to pay for that anymore the way we have been. So the final vote is going to come in the House of Representatives momentarily. They're just waiting for Hakeem Jeffries to shut his pie hole. And as of right now, he has not shut his pie hole. And we hope he will shut his pie hole very soon. And they will pass the bill. Jay Ratliff is scheduled to be with us. Sorry, I'm looking at messages popping in. See if I'm getting anything from Jay Ratliff on his delay. I know he's confirmed his topics this morning. JRatliff.com is his website. We'll see if Jay pops in here in just a moment. The final House vote is coming up very quickly on the big, beautiful bill, and we're waiting for it. Hakeem Jeffries is pontificating and bloviating, and hopefully he'll shut his mouth soon. All right, good to have you here. Well, hopefully Jay Ratliff will jump in here in just a second. We have not heard from him yet. I do have a list of topics, so I know he's probably planning to be engaged. Something might have delayed him. We'll delay a little bit. But here's what we'll do this morning. Don't forget, your question of the day is, what is your go-to potato chip to take to the 4th of July? Ray's on the YouTube. We wanted some YouTube. YouTube's a very small audience out there for us. I'd love to grow the YouTube. If you want to watch us on YouTube, know that we are there. Ray says the barbecue Hawaiian kettle chips, the barbecue Hawaiian kettle brand chips are great for a 4th of July party. I like the kettle chips. Those are very good, have a lot of great crunch. Stacy Miller Pratt says Tostitos scoops or Tostitos bite-sized tortilla chips for me. She's like producer Chad. Somebody said they like the Frito scoops. Fritos are one that we used to always say, it was always Lay's and Fritos for some reason. And in the South, we had remember you make Frito pies. Is that just a Southern thing? It's a bunch of Fritos and you put the chili on top and you call it a Frito pie. Yeah, it's really good. I haven't had one in ages, but they're very, very good. I haven't had Fritos in a while, but they're good with bean dip. You know that little can of bean dip, that plastic bean dip that they make? Nothing goes better. And also the Fritos don't break up in the bean dip. They just don't, they don't break. And I think that's the best pairing for that bean dip, which is that bean dip takes me back to my childhood for some reason, because I remember that early on. It was always Fritos and bean dip. All right, let's do this. Let's do the meme roulette section of the show. Jim suggests that maybe Jay is on a ground stop. I don't know. Something's going on. Rich says, I was just thinking of Frito pies that we make. Yeah, Frito pies. That sounds very good. I'm getting hungry right now. And this show always makes me hungry because you people like talking about food so much. You know, I'm one of those guys that try not to eat until late in the day. Intermittent fasting. I'm sure it's working. If I could put down the tequila, it'd probably be working better. Sorry, that's our new love. Producer Chad and I have become tequila. I wouldn't say aficionados, but our friend Kevin has got us sampling the tequilas, and doggone it, there's some really nice tequilas out there. The problem is they go down really, really smooth, and I like tequila. No, not this Jose Cuervo, mix it in your margarita. I'm talking about the high fancy pinky up in the air sipping tequila. That's a different. You got to be careful if you're going to get tequila. Some of them are sippers and some of them are mixers, and I would be careful not to sip the mixers. That's what I would do. All right, let's do this. Let's go around the globe, and as we do, let's steal memes. Let's do it. Let's steal memes from people. Ready? Got to do it. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. That's producer Chad as a child there on your screen. Oh, it's not really. I don't think it is. And again, sometimes my screen does not cooperate. So then I stood up and told that teaching lady, the only crayon colors I need are the red, white, and blue. You got to see the photo. That makes sense. That little kid with his Miller Lite in his hand said, I stood up. I told that teaching lady, the only crayon colors I need are the red, white, and the blue. Yeah, I needed the whole box of 64. I don't know why I wanted that. That's the rich kids got that. I wasn't that. I didn't get the box of 64. Round around. Let's do it again. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. It's a dog. On the 5th of July, dogs on the 5th of July. It's smoking a cigarette, man. The explosions, it changes you, man. It changes you. You know, my dog doesn't mind the fireworks. He doesn't mind. I know some people have to put their dogs in like the the trauma vest and or put them in their crates or kennels and put them in the basement where they can't hear. My dog's like, he doesn't care. He's like, oh, fireworks, I like it. Different dogs do different things. My dog doesn't seem to mind the banging noise. But again, my dog's used to loud, obnoxious noises because he lives with me. So therefore, he's probably used to the ruckus that it causes. Round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. Thomas Jefferson, July 3rd, 1776, 249 years ago today. Thomas Jefferson was going, what's due tomorrow? I have to write what? Oh, crap. That was 249 years ago today. Round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows, my friends. There's Smokey the Bear saying, kids, don't play with fireworks. Let the adults who have been drinking all day set them off. It's real smart, isn't it? I almost lost a hand with fireworks one time. I was a little wee tyke, and my father was telling me how he grew up, and they would have Roman candle wars with each other. They'd pick up the Roman candles and shoot them as a kid. Well, my mother fortunately heard the conversation, and she firmly scolded my father by calling him by his first, middle, and last name and said, don't you tell little Jimmy to do that. I forbid it. She didn't let it. He wanted me. He said, let's do it. We'll hold up the candles in our hands. You don't have to prop them up on the ground. And my mom said, no, your little Jimmy is not going to hold a Roman candle in his hand. I was probably 8 or 9 years old. And sure enough, we lit that Roman candle and that thing exploded. And my mother, again, glared at my father. And I'm pretty sure my father slept on the couch for a long time after that because he wanted me to hold that candle that blew up and exploded. And if my nickname from that point on would have been Nub, it's what I would have been called. But no, good thing fingers are all working, hand still works, all because I didn't listen to my father. I listened to my mother. Well, I didn't listen to her. I was disappointed that she scolded my dad because I thought it sounded fantastic to hold the Roman candle. Don't do that, kids. Don't do that. Yeah. Hey, kids, don't be playing with fireworks. Your parents have been drinking all day. Let them blow things up. That's going to end well, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. Theme is here, 4th of July. There's Will Smith. The day that Will Smith saved us from aliens. Let's pause and reflect on that. Independence Day, my friends, Independence Day. Saved us from the aliens. Round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. Hey, England. Have fun at work tomorrow. You enjoy. We're going to take a day off. And we ain't going to drink much tea. Well, iced tea we will. Not that warm tea. We're going to drink the iced stuff and put some sugar in it, baby. Yeah. Hey, England, have fun. Round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. Beer, steak, and explosions. That's America. There's your bald eagle staring at you. Nothing says God bless America like people grilling meat on an open flame and blowing things up in the street. Nothing says America like that, right? Nothing says America. And really tacky shirts that have American flags on it. I remember, I think it was the Gap that always sold American flag shirts. Even my son, I picked him up at the airport a couple of days ago. He's in for a few days for the 4th of July from college football practice. And I had the package had arrived at the house, and I said, you have a package, a little envelope. And it was an American flag t-shirt that he had bought and ordered specifically to have it delivered home so he would have a new piece of American flag wardrobe for this year. Big deal. We should do a contest. Everybody snap photos at your 4th of July picnic. Who has the tackiest version of an American flag that they're wearing? Are we the only country that wears our flag and calls it fashion? You know, we have all these rules and regulations about the flag. You have to have a light on it, you know, how to burn it or how to burn it if it destroy it, if it becomes damaged. I mean, all these things in the American flag code, and yet somehow we put the American flag on our underpants and our t-shirts, and that's called patriotism. It's really kind of baffling, isn't it? It really is. Round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from, my friends. No one knows. Ladies and gentlemen, that means we have milked the meme machine dry. And for that, I apologize that we're out of memes. Everybody celebrate America safely tomorrow. We're going to try to catch up with Jay Ratliff on another time. Not sure exactly what happened with Brother Jay, but obviously Brother Jay has been delayed and not able to join us. I know many of you wait for Brother Jay Ratliff, and we'll reconvene with him. Had some great topics to get to, and I'll see if we can reschedule for some time. Well, we'll have him next week as well, but I apologize if I teased you with Jay Ratliff, but obviously he has not made it into the green room. Everybody celebrate 4th of July accordingly. Got a couple of things I want to remind you. if you'd like to be a part of the program, we'd love to shout out to you and your business. Why don't you do this? Go to info@jimmylakey.com, info@jimmylakey.com. And it doesn't matter what region of the country you're in, where you're listening. If you have a national product, a local service, national service, we'd love to promote, tell people about you. And it's just a way to support this version of infotainment. And again, don't forget, thousands of earballs and eyeballs see this show, hear this show every week. Not just here on the live stream, but people watch it throughout the day. Some people go to the podcast platforms and only listen to the audio. And so we'd love to introduce you to all the great people that watch and listen to this program. info@jimmylakey.com. Also, don't forget our charity. There's a couple of things going on with the charity. A great donation. It's the end of the month, beginning of the month. Some of you got paid on the 1st. Would you consider Rivers Promise? A donation there would be fantastic. Help us build Legacy Christian Academy. We appreciate you doing that. And also, if you'd like to enter the sweepstakes to win that 2025 Bronco, it's right there. You'll see the win tab, you see the donation tab, and you'll also see an events tab, and that talks about our golf tournament that's coming up September the 5th. And it's going to be a fantastic time. Rivers Promise 9th annual golf event coming up Friday, September the 5th, and I hope that you will be a part of the festivities there. And all of the information that aforementioned about the charity is at riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com, riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com, and appreciate you checking it out. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping us help those that are less fortunate around the globe. And my calling is to help the kids in Rwanda. And if that's not your tingling of your heartstrings and that's not what you feel called to do, make sure today, make that donation to maybe a veterans organization, maybe to a organization that's taking care of people that have served their country. To all of you who have served the country and helped us stay free for 249 years, I say thank you. God bless our veterans. God bless those that are enlisted to this day. And 249 years, happy birthday, America. And I'm so happy tomorrow's not just the 249th birthday of America and our Declaration of Independence. It's also the march begins to our 250th birthday. And I'm glad that we have decent and God-fearing patriots in the White House and in Washington, D.C. to lead us towards the 250th birthday. So everybody, have a great day. I'll connect with Jay Rattle, making sure everything's okay with him. But I appreciate all of you. And don't forget, producer Chad has invited me. And I don't exactly know what we're doing. My son's in town, but he's invited me to swing by and try some apple pie with cheese on it. You know, I'm trying to celebrate America. Now I'm trying to have weird food like that. I don't know. It seems like that could really bastardize the celebration of America. I don't like it a bit, but we'll see. Riverspromise.org. I mean this on the 249th birthday of America. May God bless you. And may God continue to bless America. I'm Jimmy Lakey. Peace. I'm